Hey everybody, this is Mark,
And this is Justin.
and this is Awkward Fist Bump Productions. Boom! Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Is.
All right. So this week when we posted this, I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking this is the Dylan interview. This is not the Dylan interview. I told you if you go back and you look at that other video, I said it's going to be a week or two before we get that up. However, we've got even well, I can't say cooler, but as awesome as a guest today. But let's do this little bit of make sure if you like the video, you subscribe, you like, you comment. Make sure you comment. Also, if you support what we're doing, you see our guests are getting even bigger and better. Make sure you go to patreon.com/AFBP and go ahead and support us so we can get better sound equipment, better lighting equipment. We need a computer. If you guys will look somewhere over here, you'll see a green screen. Unfortunately, apparently on a cell phone, it doesn't allow you to use the green screen. So we're using it all for production, I promise. However, let's jump right into it. So today we have the pleasure, we have the honor of bringing on my friend. His name is Kristian Alexio. Now, Kristian Alexio, who is this guy? I'm going to let him tell you who he is for just a minute. Kristian, take it away, buddy.
Oh, well, okay. I am Kristian Alexio. Kudos to you, by the way, on getting my name correct, man. It's people have been butchering it since day one, like literally since I was right. So thank you
Alexo,
Alexo. Oh yeah, man. It's bad. So you did really well there. I am a professional race car driver. I am the author of My Life and Story, The Outside Groove, forwarded by Willie T. Ribbs. That's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kodo, Books A Million, Walmart, and other fine retailers.
Good part.
And the children's book, Faster and Faster, A Children's Guide to Motorsport, that I co-wrote with Robbie Unser. Robbie Unser, 1998 IndyCar Rookie of the Year. And obviously member of the world famous Unser racing family. So big honor to have that going. I've got a reality TV show with Sharp Entertainment, the makers of Jersey Shore and 90 Day Fiance, those gems of television. So that's been moving on as well. And I have my own foundation, Capability Incorporated, which empowers kids who have disabilities or illnesses, but they also want to be professional athletes. You know, I've got type 1 diabetes myself that I deal with every day, and it obviously plays a part in everything when you're an athlete. And I just want to encourage kids who have whatever they have, like don't let it stop you. Don't let anybody get in your ear and tell you can't do this because you have that, or you can't do that because you have that. Tell them to shut up, man. You know, and I don't normally encourage kids telling their parents to shut up, but when they start going on about what you can and can't, like you can't do that because you've got, you know, type this or stage 1 that or whatever this is. Tell them it's nonsense. I can do whatever. So
That's awesome.
I love it. So me and Kristian became friends. I guess a couple of months ago, and it was actually by accident. We were on a Christian Facebook group, or was it?
Was it?
No, maybe it was predestined.
Accident to you.
Ooh.
Fate to him, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So
this guy starts following me on Facebook, and I accepted his friendship, and a lot of you guys that watch the show because you're friends, you know, with me on Facebook. I try to look at your profile real quick just to make sure you're not some fake, and then I accept it. So I didn't know who this guy was until he hit me up, and I started looking at his Actually, he hit me up one day. He said, "Hey, I got this awesome news from these reality TV show producers. If it doesn't work, Mark, we need to work something out." And I'm like, who the heck is this guy? So I finally actually started looking it up. I'm ashamed to say I didn't know who you were, but I get hit by so many people, so many friend requests that, you know, I often don't spend a lot of time. And then I started looking at his story, and his story is great. Actually, I'm going to do a shameless plug real quick. We're going to talk about this book. It's called The Outside Groove. It is written by my man Kristian. And what's even cooler about that is the introduction is written by Willie T. Ribbs. So for those of you that have no idea who Willie T. Ribbs is, he is the first African American to race the Indy 500, and so he is a man of history. So that's really awesome, and that's a heck of an endorsement to have him write your book, huh, brother?
Oh, absolutely, man. I was so thankful too, Willie, and it's interesting because it's kind of one of those full circle stories with Willie. If you guys have Netflix, everybody go check out his documentary that's on Netflix right now called Uppity. Really, really good. Just check it out. You'll see, man. Willie hasn't lost a single modicum of his personality. He's such a energetic, enigmatic guy, man. You'll see that in the doc. But it was a full circle story because I never planned on having a book in my life, an autobiography. It was not just on the list of things to do. And I was contacted by a friend of a friend who had a really good tie to Bill Cosby. So an old sponsor of mine out in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He had been working with Braxton Cosby, who's Bill's nephew, and we ended up running into Bill at a Philadelphia Flyers game. And obviously, this was before he went through his stuff and everything. And he's like, "Do you want to just go down there and talk to him?" And I said, "We can't do that. That's not how approaching these people works." And he's like, "No. We have a business with his nephew. We can go do that. We know him." So I was like, all right, we go talk to him, and he ends up asking questions just about my story. I had no idea that Bill Cosby was he's a huge racing fan. So what was interesting was that he was telling me that he was who sponsored Willie T. Ribs when Willie T. ran the Indy 500 for the first. I had no idea that that's where the money had come from. That was a little bit before I was old enough to be into racing. And he says, I'd love to help you out. I'm going through something right now. I don't have the money like I did with him to just hand to you, but what I can do is get you a book deal. So if you look at the cover there, it says with Braxton Cosby on it. That's Bill's nephew. So it's actually kind of a full circle story because Bill worked with Willie T, and then I got my book deal through Cosby Media. And then that's how the connection to Willie T came back around. And I was so thankful to him for being able to write the foreword to my book. I read those words, every so often just because it pushes me, man. There are days, man, at least twice a week I want to quit, man. It's hard. It's hard, but I go back and I read that and I remember exactly why I'm doing this, and it keeps me going.
Yeah. So let's talk about hard for just a minute. You know nothing in life that is easy, it seems like. So we're going to talk about it. You grew up homeless. You joined the military. Yeah. You did, how many tours to Iraq did you do, my brother?
2. You
did 2 tours to Iraq. You came down with type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes kind of ruined your career because you were in the process of putting in a packet to become a pilot, weren't you?
Correct.
Okay. So type 1 diabetes ruined your military career and made you unable to serve. So I guess you finished off that enlistment, went ahead and got out, or medically retired, or however they do that. And then you decide, hey, I want to be a race car driver. Now, hold on. Not just any type of race car driver. I want to race Indy race cars. Now, in Indy racing, you've got names like Foyt. You've got names like Andretti. So how does an Alexio fit in that? First of all, it's a perfect name because it's a bunch of Italian names, and Alexio sounds Italian for us dumb people that don't know any better. All right, but
Portuguese.
But how does an Alexio fit into the Indy race family?
Well, he forces his way in. He doesn't have the door open for him by somebody before him, and not knocking anybody who's had the more, I guess, typical journey to race car driver. I'm not knocking that at all. By all means, if life hands you some advantages, take them. I'm not saying that, but I have come to a point in my life where I just don't want to accept whatever life is handing me, and the minute you start to say, you know what, I don't accept this and I'm going to build what I want to build, and you start to do it, that's how all these other opportunities and these doors open up. You guys can't tell from behind me, but outside this window, that is Indianapolis. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is about 6 minutes that way. 5 minutes if there's no traffic, I can make it to the track that way, and how this all just came about was certain things were falling apart in life. And, just as with everybody, anybody's got that problem. But you have two choices, You just sit there and you take it, you curl up in a ball and you let life just kick you, or you say, hey, life, I'm going to kick you back. If you keep it up, I'm going to kick you back. All right.
That's right.
And that's the thing is that that's what makes it all worth it. From the top to the very, very bottom, whether you're making $50 billion a year, whether you got some crazy Patrick Mahomes deal going on, or whether, you're working at Walmart, life kicks our teeth in, man, like from the top to the bottom, the same amount. What makes the kicking worth it is you have to make it worth it. You have to get up, put your passion into something, and that's what makes getting kicked worth it. So I basically jailbroke the situation, man. And this is what it's turned into, and I'm thankful actually for being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was. Had I not gotten diagnosed in Iraq, the VA wouldn't be taking care of me like they do now. But because they take care of me like they do now, it allows me freedom during my days to work on my racing stuff, So it was actually a bit of a blessing in disguise.
In disguise. That's awesome. So how did you actually get into racing once you got out of the military, and what racing bracket did you start in? Okay,
so my thing about competitive driving started before that. This started back in high school. I had an old '67 Volkswagen Beetle that my grandfather had left here in the States when he took off to go back home. He just left it. So I got my license, and this became my car. Now, as Mark mentioned earlier, I was homeless at the time. We were living out of a storage unit. My mom had passed away when I was 13. Her from type 1 diabetes, actually, and it left us in a bad situation. I had to go live with my dad. My dad is horrible with money. He's horrible with responsibility. He's horrible with just anything life related. He's bad at. So, and at 13, he drags you down with him. There's nothing else you can do. You're under his care. So we ended up being homeless. But this car, this '67 Volkswagen Beetle, so what everybody else looked like, this thing is a lemon, and you would literally have to talk to it to get it to start up. You do the and you'd have to tell her she was pretty. You got to tell like, hey, you were so pretty today. And then eventually she turned over. I was like, geez, man, this car was a piece of work. But for somebody who's homeless, when it's all you have, it's just that. It's all you have. Yeah. And that's what kind of took my mind off of my situation, which was putting all my time into the car. And I had a buddy named Steven in high school who introduced me to a thing called Gymkhana, which is basically autocross, large airfield or a big parking lot. They put out orange cones. Looks kind of like a driving course. And it is for all intents and purposes. And first one through the course, depending on time, wins. If you hit a cone, they add a second onto your time. But what I liked about this was that they broke it up into competitive classes of whatever car you had. So it wasn't like somebody's Porsche GT3 going up against, Mark's old Prius, right? It wasn't something like that.
The Prius would have won, by the way, but good.
The deer magnet.
He had the Hemi edition Prius, and that's what would have that's what would have did it, right? No, but so what was cool was that if your car was slow, they put you up against just the other slow cars, and that's what made it even. That's what made it equal, and that's what I loved about it. Cool. And yeah, we didn't win anything, but it wasn't about that for me. For me, it was everything else in my life was falling apart. Being behind the wheel made me feel like I was in control of something, and that's what I was looking for at that time. So that's how that started there. The military thing happened because it was the quickest way to get out of my homeless situation once I graduated. And type 1, got me while I was out there in Iraq, and came back, and that's when they told me, look, you gotta go. So I said, all right, and I felt myself getting back to that place again where I don't feel like I'm in control of anything in my life. I didn't ask to get type 1 diabetes. Who asked for that? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I saw what it did to my mom, and it took her fairly quickly. And I'm thinking again, am I about to die in like 5 years? Do I have 5 years left? This is completely unfair. Life is falling apart around me. I have no control again. And the thing I do like about myself probably the most is that I have a limit as to how sorry I'll let myself feel for myself. But once I hit that limit, it goes, it's like a little rebound, man. It's like so I hit that point. I was like, man, life sucks. I just lost my job. I have a new disease. This is crap. I hit that trampoline and I went straight up and I thought to myself, what did you do the last time that you felt this out of control? And I thought the car, but I had just done my tour in Iraq. You guys who know, who have been overseas, no taxes on that money. So I had a nice little egg, sitting in my bank account. So I could afford something that wasn't a 67 Volkswagen Beetle now. And that's what I did. I went out and got a 350Z, and this became my new autocross car. And so that's basically where it started, just with the SCCA, the Sports Car Club of America, doing their autocross stuff. And eventually that led to, I am just really, really loving sports cars, man. This is just, so basically, this is where I really gained a love for sports car racing and just competitive driving. I later found out through the SCCA that they had pro leagues, touring car leagues, where they basically pit manufactured vehicles, production vehicles, just race versions of them. And I thought, that's really, really cool, man. So you could have like somebody's Mazda 6 against the BMW, 3 Series, going up against somebody's Mustang, going up against somebody, all on the same track. And I just thought that is so cool. And what a yeah, man, that's really, really awesome. Touring car thing became but I started to ask questions. How do I get into that? How do I move from autocrossing into wheel-to-wheel racing on a track? And that's when I found out that this is expensive. Racing, man, it'll cost you a kidney. And it was just an inordinate amount of money just to even get a racing license, money that I didn't have because I just spent all my money on the new car, right? So I was like, well, what do I do? How do I do this? How do I figure this out? And I thought to myself, you know what? One of my, I forgot where I was now, but basically I found out that racing was just extremely expensive. And was just going to cost an inordinate amount of money just to even get your license. And one of my favorite things about me is that I can become very persistent. Some people call it annoying, but I like to say I'm just really persistent. I'm going to bother you until I get the answers that I'm seeking here. And that's what I did. I got a hold of the directory, and in the back of the directory, they had like emails. Every state had a different region. All the regions had email a director for that specific region. And I was like, they just made a big mistake. You really messed up. You left me your email address. And that's exactly what I did, man. I got obsessed and I just started emailing everybody, any state, didn't matter to me. Wherever the opportunity was, I was going to go. And just, hey, somebody help me out. Somebody, can you teach me? How do I do this? How do I do that? And I kept getting back no after no after no after no after no after no after no. After about the 200th no, you kind of become immune to it, and you just keep, and I just kept sending them and said, I didn't care, man. And then finally, probably about 1,000 emails in, I got a email back, from a gentleman out in California, and he said, I have a proposition for you. It may not sound attractive, but should you accept it, I think it could be something worthwhile. And I said, well, what do you have? He goes, well, where are you, right? So I told him where I was. I was in Southern Arizona at the time, and he's like, okay, well, I'm in Northern California. If you can be here in the next 24 hours, I'll tell you about the deal, right?
Oh, wow.
So okay, right. And I said, wow, can we not just have a phone call, man? Like, you can over the phone, right? And he's basically like, no, I have to see if you really want it. I'm not going to waste my time for someone who doesn't actually want it, So I thought, okay, this is a test. All right, got it. So I hopped in the car and I drove. I drove out to California. I met with him, and he explained the situation. He's like, I have a 4-mile-long racetrack. And I just bought it, my wife and I. His wife was the mayor of the town. And he's like, we just bought this track, and we have nobody to kind of upkeep the grounds. We have nobody to paint the signs. We have nobody to hang signs, nobody to mow the lawn, nobody to do any of that stuff. But what we do have is a racing school that we plan on running through the track. So if you do this for us, then we can do this for you.
Wow.
And he goes, but here's the kicker. I have no money to pay you. Right.
Oh, man.
And I said, well, how long do you think you're going to need me for? He goes, at least a year. And that's a big commitment. Can you commit to a year with no income? Right. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Right. That's a tough ask. I said, just give me the weekend to think about it. And he says, okay, but you have till Monday, no later than Monday. I said, all right. So there I go. I'm driving back to AZ. And as I'm driving, I'm thinking about the situation and what do I do? What do I do? And I don't know if I get an opportunity like this again, So I thought to myself, you know what? You just gotta do it. You just gotta do it. And luckily for me, being homeless in high school actually kind of prepared me. It's funny things for this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what got me through Iraq. A lot of it actually, because we bounced around from post to post. We were such a small unit that it was easy to kick us out. And we had a particularly annoying commander. She would irk people. And they would be like, you know what, get out, right? And we started out in southern Iraq, and we literally hit every post all the way till we got up to Mosul, and we couldn't get kicked out any further because there's no more posts. But that's how she would irk everybody, man. But what got me through, because everybody else would get so mad, we have to move again. We didn't stay at any post for more than 2 weeks. We were always living out of a duffel bag. We couldn't set up a tent because we were going to move soon. We all knew. Don't unpack anything. Use as many uniforms as you can because we're going to be leaving. We're going to be leaving soon. And everybody else would get really stressed out about it. I felt like I handled it the best, but it was because of my homeless situation in high school. I was like, this is nothing, man. And so this kind of helped me out here as well. So I took it. I came back home. I broke up with the girl I was dating at that time. And I was like, I'm out. And we got into a big fight, and she called me stupid. She called me all kinds of names. Man, this is dumb. You're not even getting paid. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, And it was at that point I knew, you don't support me. You don't believe in this thing that I got going on in my head. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't need to make sense to you. It makes sense to me. And that's all that matters, really. Right. And so I'm out, and I left. And kind of never looked back, man. So went out there, slept in my car for a year. Ended up selling the car that I had just so I had some money to live off of. I bought a 95 Thunderbird to take its place. I had a big back seat. I had a white 95 Thunderbird, man, and that was that thing ran for 450,000 miles. You couldn't destroy the thing, man. I love that car. It was awesome. But
you know why though, right?
What's that? What is that?
It's because it's a Ford.
Because it's a Ford. That's likely why, man. No, back in '95, they were building good machines. Apparently, this thing ran. So, but I used the back seat, and that's where I slept for that year. And I got through it, and that led to some other opportunities. Just with the Formula BMW school, doing a little bit of instructing with them. Then that moved on to some other sports car opportunities. The sports car opportunity led to a NASCAR opportunity with a team called Big Fan Racing. Mark and Josh Watkins, if those guys are watching, shout out to you. Appreciated the opportunity. You guys were awesome. And we had a series. We had a deal. They had a competition going that was headed toward the NASCAR Truck Series. And this was based off of something they had done about 15 years prior. With what's now the Xfinity Series, but it was the Busch Series back then.
Yeah.
They did a thing where they were a team funded by fan dollars. That's why it was called Big Fan Racing. They had America's Most Wanted on the car, and they would highlight a kid who was missing each week. And basically, for a certain amount, you could buy 1/1000th of the race team. So it's kind of a novelty, right? Now Justin and Mark could go tell my buddy, hey, I own a NASCAR team, here's my certificate type of a thing, and that's how they used to fund that team. They were bringing that effort back, but this time for a ride in the Truck Series. Josh Watkins, who's Mark's son, he was going to drive the He was going to drive the first truck, and they were looking for a driver to hire the second one. They had this driver competition. We ended up finishing second. I believe Ryan Rust won that competition. Shout out Ryan. I see you doing good things on Facebook and such. But he won that. But here's what was cool is that even though we finished second in that competition, the CEO of CR England, which is America's largest refrigerated trucking company, he's a retired Army Sergeant Major. And just loves the heck out of veterans. And he was like, you know what? I would love to dump some money into a veteran driver. Because it really hasn't been done before at that time. Now we have guys like Jesse Iwuji in the Xfinity series. He's currently in the Navy, actually. He's a Navy reservist. So shout out to Jesse. But it hadn't been done at the time, though, having a veteran driver. And at that point, even though I finished second, they couldn't get rid of me because this company was willing to throw a check my way. And so that's how that moved forward, man. And unfortunately, that deal fell apart prior to us actually getting to take the green flag, that first green flag at Daytona. But these things happen, that's racing. And I'm glad we got it out of the way then, because this happens a lot, man. So many deals fall through in this sport. It's absolutely insane, man. If you guys really knew what happens, most fans, you see what happens on Sunday. You just see Sunday. You have no idea what it took for these guys to get here Sunday, man. It is a lot goes on. A lot of deals get, tossed around and nothing ever comes of them. So this happened to be one of them. No fault to Big Fan Racing or anything. And I was still thankful for the opportunity. And so we moved on from that, but it kind of soured me on the whole NASCAR thing. I was like, you know what? But we still want to race. And I was just like, well, being at the Formula BMW school had kind of given me a love for Formula style cars. The NASCAR stuff kind of gave me a love for ovals. And there's only one place in the entire world that does Formula cars on ovals. Only one place, one series that does it. And that is IndyCar, right? Headquartered 6 minutes that way, right? So right, they're the only people who do Formula cars on an oval. And I thought, okay, this is the easiest progression, man. So I ended up talking to Jay Howard, who IndyCar driver. We got to chatting just about how to make that jump, and so he kind of recommended that we start off in midget cars, some open wheel stuff, just to get a little more acclimated to it before we start adding the power of the Formula car. So yeah, we ran midgets up in the Northeast, the ATQ MRA series with Blue Mets and Mets Racing up there. That was a really good time, man. Very challenging cars. But so much fun, man. I dream about those every Saturday morning now. I still think about packing up to go out to Mahoning Valley Speedway and go running some laps with those guys, man, out in Pennsylvania. That was a really, really fun time of my life. Very stressful time because I was funding it all myself. So you're talking about working like a 60, 70-hour week to be able to afford it. And then Friday comes, you think you have a weekend off, but you don't. You got to pack up to head out to Pennsylvania the next day to go race a car, to get it packed up, to get back by Sunday night, just so you can be back to your 60, 70-hour week on Monday. And it was stressful, man, very stressful, but we did it. It's what needed to happen. So did that, and then finally I got an invite from Jody Barber to do the Celebrity Cook-Off here in Indianapolis, because Jay Howard was calling out for that when he couldn't make that event. And he's like, well, hey, if you want to take my place, you can take my place. I said, okay. And that's what I did. That's what I did. I came here for the first time, and it was only supposed to be a day trip. I ended up staying for 4 days. It was only supposed to be the one day, but I just fell in love with the city, man. And the cook-off was that night. I had nothing to do during the daytime, so I went to the Speedway. I was like, let me go check this out. I got there, and man, when I tell you, it grabbed me. Just the prestige, you walk into the museum, there's the Borg Warner trophy with all the faces of the Indy 500 winners on. It's the coolest trophy in motorsports, clearly, and that thing it's moving around. It's spinning, and it's on a swivel, man. So, and you're just looking at all the winners of the 500, just all of them going, and that was just so inspirational. That was just so awesome to do. And it's hold on one second, fellas. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I don't. Sorry, man. All right. No, you're good, man.
All right. Ready?
People are astounding, man. They really do amazing. I'm amazed sometimes, like just Anyway, that's neither here nor there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm here. I get to this people. I see the trophy, and it's just like, this is it. This is where you need to be. This is exactly where you need to be.
Awesome.
And I went home and I started putting my plan together, how to move from the Northeast to Indianapolis. And I did that, and I got here, and I've been working at it ever since, man. So been able to hook up with the people at Racecraft One, Kelly Jones. If anybody's in the Indy area and you want a simulation experience of what it's like by a professional race instructor, please do hit up Kelly Jones at Racecraft One. And so him and I forged a friendship. He's an Air Force veteran. Flew fighter pilot. He's a fighter pilot. Flew jet. So
awesome.
yeah, really, really cool, man. But he teaches racing the same way you would teach someone to fly a jet, which is kind of what race car driving is. It's a jet, but on the ground, really. So, it's been just such a fulfilling experience being here and getting to it, and just the levels, man, the levels, and just going up and up and up and up and up and up and up, and then we're looking at about a $2 million day is what the Indianapolis 500 costs per car, which is it's not cheap, it's not like a ton of money either, right? It's $2 million, but it's not like, it's so, just trying to put that together, man. Trying to put that together, and but in the meantime, we've got other avenues to get our licensing points with the road to Indy. So USF 2000, Pro Mazda. I'm sorry, Indy Pro 2000. They changed the name. Indy Pro 2000, Indy Lights, on up. So that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been working at. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. We got great sponsors like Gutsy. These guys, Gutsy Organic, go check them out. They've got an Amazon store now as well. They're pretty good, but that's it, man. And I'm here, and that's how an LA show fits in, man. You gotta jailbreak it, and I very much understand that I don't belong here, quote unquote, right? Because my background doesn't equal race car driver. That's not usually how this happens. But yeah. I look at stories, man, like Conrad Hilton, Paris Hilton's great grandfather. Mm-hmm. They were farmers. He got this crazy idea in his head of a hotel, and every Friday night, him and his wife would go down to the fanciest hotel in their town. They would get dressed up, in their best clothes, and they would go to this hotel. They couldn't afford a room, but they would just go every Friday night and dream. They would just sit here and dream. If I had a hotel, I would do this. If I had a hotel, I would do that. And slowly but surely, they started to work at it, and they worked at it, and they worked at it. And what you have now is the Hilton Hotel franchise, man. And it's all because Conrad Hilton refused to accept what life was telling him he should have been. His father was a farmer. His grandfather was a farmer. His great-grandfather was a farmer. He said, no, life, I don't want to farm. I want to own a hotel franchise. And look what it's become. Awesome. And those are those stories that I draw inspiration from, because that's the same here. I'm refusing to accept what life has given me. I'm going to make it what I want to make it. And through that, hopefully I get to inspire some other people who might be making excuses to themselves as to why they can't accomplish what it is that they want to accomplish. If a formerly homeless kid can go from living in a storage unit to a race, the most prestigious race in the world that costs $2 million to do, if I can go from homeless kid to that, I don't want to hear any excuse from anybody about why you can't do whatever it is you want to do.
That's awesome.
Well, I don't know about Justin, but I'm going to be honest with you. I am inspired right now. I'm going to take up competitive Prius racing.
I think the deer already beat you. You don't got your Prius.
The deer won, man.
The deer won.
And it's but they actually have a Prius Cup though. There's actually a series. How
about Toyota Tacoma racing then?
I don't think they have a series for that, but
there you go.
You're gonna start it.
I am calling it right now, right here on Awkward Fist Bump Productions. I am the first professional Toyota Tacoma driver.
I like it, man. I like it. Toyota uses the Tundra model in the NASCAR series, but you could be the first with the Tacoma, though, man.
With the Tacoma.
I grew up in Tacoma, so I dig it, man. I like it. You know.
Yeah, so send a check to 123 Smith Street if you want to sponsor. If you want to sponsor the Awkward Fist Bump Productions Toyota Tacoma race team.
I like it, man. I like it, man.
Hey, but the cool thing about being the first,
I can put it away, man.
The cool thing about being the first is right now I'm the champion.
That's right. You are P1 right now in the standings, man.
That's right. There you go. So see, that's why we became friends, because we're both the top of our class right here.
Yes,
right now.
Are. So there you go, man.
So I will tell you guys, I know nothing about cars, if you couldn't tell from the awkward conversation that I've been having.
Nothing.
So Justin is my car guy. I mean, really, he really is. So if you were to tell me that you needed a catalytic converter, I would probably go try to find a flux capacitor right there at Advanced Auto Parts. And so
he's been going to get his blinker fluid changed for the last 10 years. And
10 years.
I still haven't been able to find the guy. I keep going and they look at me crazy. At this point, I think they've taken out a restraining order against me, because I go there about every other day. Do y'all have blinker fluid yet?
That'll stop.
They awkwardly laugh at me. I don't get it. But yeah. But well,
cars are amazing, man.
Cars are amazing.
Amazing, man. I don't know. There's something about them is just excites you, man, in places that just most things don't. I'm absolutely fascinated in all the different facets of racing, all the different types of racing. There's just so much going on, man. I would absolutely love to do like the 24-hour race at Daytona.
Man.
Someday, man, because just the fact that cars aren't supposed to be able to run for 24 hours straight, man, that's just a feat in human technology right there. And the fact that there are 4 different races going on the same track at the exact same time is just like mind-boggling to me, man. And you got the prototype cars who will get around the track about 4 times before the GT cars even get around once. And it's like, how do you manage? If you're in one of the GT cars, how do you manage these prototypes keep going? Because you're not racing them, you're racing the other GT cars, but it's all going on the same track at the exact same time, man. And it's just incredible, man. I would absolutely love to do something like that at some point one day.
So what are you doing right now, brother?
I'm talking to you.
Let me. Sorry.
That was a perfect Mark answer.
No, I'm totally messing with you. No, if you're referring to just in life, what am I doing? So, basically, with COVID and all the downtime, we've really been utilizing the virtual setting. iRacing is an amazing platform for that. It's probably one of the best racing simulators out there. And I bought a sim rig early in the pandemic because I knew I was going to be spending a ton of time at home. I didn't want to lose anything that we had going. I still wanted to be able to practice. I still wanted to be able to test. I still wanted to be able to work with my engineers. I still wanted to be able to work with my spotter. And so essentially that's what we did, man. We all went out, we got our rigs, and we've been using iRacing as the platform to do stuff. So we joined a professional league, an IndyCar league on iRacing, and these guys are it's way tougher than it looks, because from a like a layman's standpoint, you look at it, you're like, oh, it's a video game, It's not that at all, man. When I show you some of these rigs these guys have, man, this is the real deal, So and some of these pro sim racers are just as good, if not better, than real life counterparts, man. It is some of these guys are really, really tough to beat. So we made a gutsy organic virtual car, and that's what we've been doing to occupy our time here in the off season, man. My engineer Madoop and I, he's got a great story as well. He left India to move here just for racing. Like this whole country just like I left my state for racing. He left his country. I was like, that's That's bold, man. That is bold, but I think that's why him and I get along so well.
That's awesome.
And so we've been working on the car just the same way as we would work on the real car in real life, and just I've been trying to sharpen some of my verbiage when I speak to him, because really the relationship between a driver and engineer is all about translation, so as I'm telling him what's wrong with the car and what I need, it's all up to him to translate that as best he can, and so he may think I mean this, but I actually mean that. So we're trying to meet each other in the middle. He's trying to think more like a driver. I'm trying to think more like an engineer. So we kind of we meet in the middle. So when I say I need this out of the car, he knows exactly what I'm talking about, and we can get everything dialed in. So it's been a great use of the time in COVID mode, and working on my third book as well. Called Worst Friend Ever. It's about the ego and how your ego is truly the worst friend ever,
Yeah.
And so look for that coming out here pretty soon.
That's awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, but
it really is cool to see somebody come from, like you said, being homeless and not having nothing, to pushing yourself all throughout life and not taking no for an answer and just continue to keep pushing all the way through, man. Because
exactly,
my story is still just starting. Most of y'all know I just did 10 years in prison, and I could have just walked into prison, gave up, and been like, oh, okay, my life's never gonna be nothing. But I saw that there was an exit at the end of the tunnel. I knew that I was gonna get out. I knew that my family, my wife was still there, and that I had a future. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Now I'm only 1 year out, and I've got the best job I ever had. It's not my dream job, but I love it. It's fun. And, I've already been able to get a truck, the nicest truck I've ever had. And my Mustang is almost finished, getting worked on. I took my part. So, it's cool, man, just to see somebody who's actually made it and knowing that, man, don't give up, man, because the day you give up, you're never going to see what God had in store for you.
Absolutely.
That's just so cool.
Well, let's do
story, Justin. That's beautiful, man.
Thank you, brother.
We're going to go ahead and bring this interview to a close. The name of the book is The Outside Groove. The link on how to order it will be in the bottom. Kristian, before we go, how do people get a hold of you? What are your social media handles? What do you want to put out there?
You shine the bat signal over Gotham, and I just appear.
And you show up.
I show up.
So hold on. Does that mean I'm your Robin? Because we just talked earlier.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, and I was saying I was Superman and you were my Lois Lane.
No. I'm Superman. You're Jimmy Olsen. Yeah. You got like that Jimmy Olsen vibe, man.
Well, you're Screech from Saved by the Bell. Thanks, I appreciate that. I'm Zach, you're Screech. Did you just spit water out of your mouth, Justin?
No, I almost did.
I can't at least be Slater. At least like just Screech, man. Okay, no. But no. If people aren't trying to reach out to me, I am way more active on Facebook than I am on like Instagram. That's going to change. I should probably get on that. Do a better job with my Instagramming. But Kristian Alexio, with a K, Kristian, Alexio, Aleixo official on Facebook. So facebook.com/Kristian Alexio official. Go ahead and follow the fan page and leave us a like. We've got a really cool giveaway right now for every top 10 that we have during the virtual season. The virtual IndyCar season. We are giving away a free box of Gutsy Organic. So if you haven't tried it out and you're interested in trying it out, it's really good stuff. Just wait for us to have our next top 10. Hopefully we'll race in tomorrow, actually. We got to run at Daytona, which is so funny because we were just talking about Daytona. So at the Daytona road course tomorrow. And I'm stronger on ovals than I am on road courses, but we'll see if we can have a good day. And if we do, and when it happens to be a top 10 run, then by all means, go ahead and just click on the Facebook page, click the Gutsy Organic button, click like on their page as well, comment on the post and just say that you did all that. and we'll go ahead and enter you in the giveaway for a free box of Gutsy, man. So
heck yeah.
So,
Well,
is there a way you could watch your race tomorrow? I mean, I know it's virtual, but how does someone, if they wanted to go ahead and start following you, is there a way they can watch it as a spectator?
Yes, there is. The Flat Out Racing Network is the broadcasting team that broadcasts our events, and you can probably watch it on their YouTube page. So if you were to type in Flat Out Racing Network, the race is at 9 p.m. tomorrow, and we'll see what kind of day we got, man.
And that's 9 p.m. Eastern, just for those of y'all that watch, because I know we have people everywhere.
Right.
Well, we would definitely love to have you come back and talk more cars.
Yeah, man. Oh, for sure, bud. You know,
we might have to leave Mark somewhere because he's not going to understand. It's going to be gibberish.
We can leave him in AutoZone, man. In the blinker fluid aisle. Just leave him in the aisle in the blinker fluid aisle at AutoZone, man. Yeah.
Hey, this has been an awkward bump first. Enjoy the Toyota Tacoma racing team. I am the champion. Kristian, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We will link everything that he has said in the bottom. And so make sure you, as I said, awkwardly hit that subscribe button, like, share, get part of the discussion. This, my friends, has been Kristian Alexio. Kristo. Well, I'm trying to turn you even more awesome. All right, guys. We'll talk to y'all later.